I have this Cuckoo clock case in for restoration. Now I do have a very small photograph of the same clock, so I know the bits that are missing, because some of this is broken up, so I've drawn it up, and there's also a piece on the base, carving, so I've drawn it up a few times until I've got it basically how it should be, as close as I can get. It's only a small picture. It's difficult to tell because the clock's quite dark and you don't know which is clock and which is shadow, so I've got it as close as I can. The bits that join on line up with the bits where you can see it's been cut off, so I know that's basically right. And the top, the bits that are missing on the top, I've got them, they're fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice in. I've taken that off, so I'll splice a piece of wood in behind there and bring it down, carve the bottom bit, and then glue that in, put that back on, and then you won't be able to see any of the joins. There's a couple of finials, they're okay, that needs a new spigot on it, and the tip of that's broken off, so I'll have to sort that out as well. So both these have been rebaited now, so they fit together nice and snug, and it's straight. So the next thing to do is to trace on the pattern, then fret it out, and then start carving. So that'll be glued on there. once it's stained and polished, that can go on, and that should look okay. Finials on the bottom as well. So before I glue that bottom piece on, I'm going to replace all these missing broken bits off the top. So I'm going to start with this one on this end. So I've cleaned up that break there and here, and I've cut a piece of wood the right shape, so that'll clamp on there. This is broken off at some point before and it's been glued back on, and it's a little bit weak, but this should strengthen that up a bit. Before I glue it on, I'm going to cut this shape out, which is that there, and do a little bit of carving on it as well. The top one's cutting off at an angle because there'll be one of these on top of there. The middle bit wants cutting out again at the same angle because there'll be another one of those in the middle. Once I've done that, I'll glue it on. I don't want to glue it on first because it's awkward with it being attached to the case, trying to work in it like that. So I'll do as much as I can before I glue it on. So that's the missing piece made up. I just need to glue that on and start making the top and this side. And I've just replaced that piece there that was missing. So I've made up the one for the other side. There's more missing on this bit, so I've made the whole thing and I've chopped it out a bit deeper. But the join is going to be underneath the actual moulding, so you're not going to see that. I did make a mistake on this one. When I carved this bit, I cut that line straight across the top and thin that down, and it shouldn't. It should be the same thickness. So what I'm going to do is cut a little piece out there, let it in, and recarve it. It's going to be a bit tricky because it's on now and all these bits are in the way, but I'll manage it somehow. So I've recut that and it's fine. It wasn't that difficult actually, so that's okay. That I'd sooner get it right than leave it. It means I'd have to do all the others wrong as well, which is just annoying me more than anything. I've cut this piece for the top, so it's a bit of an odd shape, but it's so it fits in. So before I glue it on, I'll cut this middle bit out and the top. Carve this and then I'll glue it in place. So to clamp this top piece on, I've clamped a block of wood onto the bench here and another one here, because these are where they join is at an angle, so when I put the clamps on it will actually slide upwards, so these are just to stop it moving, so I'll get the clamps on tight enough. So I've finished all the repairs now, everything's glued together except this little piece here, which I'll glue on after it's been stained and polished. The little side doors have been repaired, new hinges because they were broken or missing. Repaired the finials and made a pendulum bob for it. I've done these two on another video, so I'll set up a link at the end if you want to watch those. I copied the pendulum bob from this walnut one because it's exactly the right design for this case. On the back I've glued on a disc of oak, this block with 3 holes in it and a little brass plate. So the centre rod is threaded at the bottom and should have a little knurled nut on there, and that rests on the bottom of this plate. This is so you can adjust the working length of the pendulum. The mock gridiron pendulum, it's not just decorative, it actually stops the bob from twisting from side to side. So that goes through the other 2 holes and rests on here. As you can see with that one, it's got a lot of nails in it. What they used to do is, if the nut went missing, they just bent these out and used that as the friction to adjust the length of the pendulum. So I've stained and polished it to match this sort of underlying reddy orangey colour, and then the French polish, which was thinned down quite a bit, just had a black pigment in it and a little bit of brown, just to give it the look of the rest of the case.